pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, 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 Boogie like pissing, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, money like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the sports coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
All right, shout out to the mighty Who Dat Nation, man. We up in this thing, sports coma, turkey style, man. Shout out to the fam for being up in this thing, man. We up in this thing. Much love. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're now rocking with the sports coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fan. We appreciate y'all for being in this thing. Turkey Day installment of the coma, man. We up in there doing it up, man. So shout out to you guys for being in the stream. Please feel free to hit the like button and all that kind of lovely stuff, man. The sports coma in this thing. Happy Turkey Day and Thanksgiving to the entire fam. I hope you guys are out there having a fantastic start of your day as we get it going, man. So as you come in, please do me a service and hit that like button as we get going. Got a few things to kind of go with you in this episode of the show. And what's intriguing, what's up, OG? See OG brother, who's that up in here as well. Shout out to my boy Scoob. What it do, pimping? Shout out to Scoob as well, man. Thank you, OG. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, my brother. This is a day for family, man, friends, and food. How about that, man? You can't do it no better than that. Also, family, friends, food, football. How about that? Family, friends, food, and football. That's what I'm talking about, man. Anyway, let's talk a little football, man. We started off the Saints. And early on, man, the Black and Gold did announce some moves that they wanted to do, right? That for this week, a bunch of moves that they made. We'll see exactly how they pan out, but we covered this on an earlier broadcast. So a few things that they talked about shaking up, trying to attempt to shake up the roster, kind of create some stuff, getting rid of Blake Grupe, no longer a member of the team, the Saints ultimately moving on from him. And they did activate a few people. Barry Wesley, who's been on IR, the Saints did activate him from a hip injury that he missed most of the start of the season. The Saints tried him out at both the tackle spots, and he did have some reps there. And ultimately, they look for Kelvin Banks Jr., the man that blindside tackle position. Asim Richards is starting on the right side if Tolly isn't cleared to return from that high ankle sprain where Wesley is in reserve. So Barry Wesley, the former Atlanta Falcon offensive lineman, will act as a reserve there. And we hope that Tali Fuaga, they take your time, take all the time in the world that you need with Tali Fuaga, to be honest with you, because Tali, man, is very important to what we got going on in the future. And he's been banged up all year long. So right now the Saints sitting up here with 2 wins. There's no need to rush Tali Fuaga back into any action until he's really good to go, right? Running back Evan Hall was promoted from the practice squad. He was a guy that the Saints signed because we know that AK-41 is dealing with a knee issue, and the Saints needed more depth behind Elvin, with Kendra out for the season, recovering from his knee issue as well. So Hall will join Devin Neal and Aldrich Estime on the 53-man roster. If nothing else changes, Hall offers some fresh legs and could bring some juice to the backfield. Hall is a smaller runner, but he's got some power to him, can run hard in between the holes and catch the ball out the backfield. All right. Like we mentioned, Blake Grupe released before Thanksgiving, man. Groupie will go on waivers like any other player at the NFL trade deadline, and he'll probably catch on somewhere as a new coaching staff looks to get him back on track. But the Saints had to make a change. He leads the league in missed field goals this season and ranks second worst since they named him the starter a few years ago. So, Blake Groupie, keep working. You'll find your footing somewhere. All right, we did sign former LSU kicker Cade York to the practice squad. Now, of course, Coach Moore made mention of the fact that what he wants to do is have these guys do it, during this week to try out for the job, and whoever kicks the best, at practice he'll make the nod on the decision who will be the kicker in the upcoming matchup right there. But Cade York's the veteran. We do have Charlie Smith. He's a big kicker, like 6'4" kicker with a very strong leg. The Saints have seen a lot of interest in Charlie Smith since he's been here on the international program. Could he be something that we're looking at? So it'll be a good competition between Cade York and a strong leg kicker, Charlie Smith. We shall see. But Cade York last year was 94-11, so we'll see what happens there, right? Running back Ian Wheeler was signed to the practice squad. Wheeler previously worked out for the Saints October the 21st, so did Hall, but a second look was needed to add him to the team. The 24-year-old from Houston played football at Howard and spent some time with the Bears over the last couple of years. He's 5'10", just over 200 pounds, and rushed for 152 yards and grabbed 4 touchdowns along the way. Wide receiver Samori Toure signed to the practice squad. Former Green Bay pick, 6'1", about 200 pounds, is another one of these guys that's going to have to work on the practice squad. Dante Pettis, Ronnie Bell, with Cooks let go, they need another playmaker to keep the practice squad running smoothly. So they also released wide receiver Jaquan Jackson. He was undersized guy that returns kicks for him, and with Mason Tipton there, they felt like he was expendable, and they kind of got him on up out of here. They also released Iku Leota, who was a linebacker. He had already gotten into some games. They activated him several times during the season, and the Saints felt like with Chase Young healthy and back into the lineup, they can feel like they can use that spot on something else. So that's a few moves. Shout out to the Saints Wire for covering the scoop. And this is the thing. So this was the big news this week of them getting rid of Blake Groupie. And he kind of took care of himself, to be honest with you. That really poor kicking was very suspect, man. Well, much luck to him moving forward, man, and just keep working hard, bro. You'll get back in there. All right, let's move on, man, to this one right here. And this is yesterday's Wednesday report for the Saints, and it's kind of letting you know what situation that Elvin was in after he got kind of bent funny by Caden Ellis in the last game. And now he had an ankle issue. Now he has a knee issue, and he's DNP'd Wednesday. If I was the Saints, I would kind of just, let Elvin chill out, let him get right. Tali Fuaga also was limited. Looks like Tali's heading in the right direction. Devin Neal also is now dealing with an ankle issue. He was limited. Chris Olave is dealing now with a back issue. So it's later on in the year, and a lot of these guys get banged up. Miami, the Dolphins injury report, you can see right there, a bunch of guys are limited on this squad. Brewer, the offensive lineman, the edge rusher and pass rush extraordinaire Bradley Chubb, dealing with a foot. He was limited, though. Cornerback Rasul Douglas was limited with a foot and ankle issue. Offensive lineman Austin Jackson had a toe issue. He was limited. Defensive tackle Benito Jones has an ankle issue. He was limited. Wide receiver Jalen Waddle had a foot issue, was limited. Tight end Darren Waller, the former Raider, had a pectoral issue, was limited. And then you see a few guys that fully practice for the team as well. So the Dolphins, an enigma of a team, man. If you watch what the Dolphins are about, an enigma. This team a couple of years ago were actually really spot on, excellent, handling some business, and not so much this year, man. Not so much this year. They've completely kind of imploded to 4-7. However, they're third in the AFC East. There's still some football left for them to kind of gain ground there. But in the AFC East, man, that's a tough place to play football at, with Buffalo there. New England is tearing the division up. The Jets are still bottom feeders, but Buffalo and really the Patriots really came back and just really surprised a lot of people. They're dominating there. So that's where Miami is they're just in a tough situation, but nonetheless, they have some talent on this team, so they're a very dangerous 4-7 team, and we cannot take this squad lightly. All right, let's kind of move into it, fam, into the preview aspect of it. We talked about it, and let's get into the stats right here. You can see the records as it were. Saints 2-9, 2 wins so far in the season against the 4-7. Hold on, that's the wrong rankings, but that's the they got Falcons up there. They think the Falcons is the Dolphins people. They still got Falcon on their mind. So anyway, they got that's on the Saints website. They still got y'all obviously can see it's the Dolphin stuff, but yeah. They got Falcon on the mind. All right, anyway, man, let's hit it. All right, so you can see the Saints, man, going backwards, man, in our scoring average, man. 15 points. Did not put an offensive touchdown up last week. The Saints just were not. They were inept. A defensive touchdown and a field goal from the team pushed and made the league what it is. But you can see at one point we were averaging like 18, 19 points. It has now dropped. We're going backwards in there. We're tied for 31st in the NFL in terms of averaging 15 points a game while giving up 25. Will get you a 2-9 record real quick. The 22 average or 25-point average, giving up 25, is 22nd in the NFL. The Dolphins averaging almost 21 points a game. They're 24th in the NFL while giving up almost 24.5, which is 21st. The total offense for the Saints, almost 297 yards per game, which is 26th. The Dolphins at 300 plus is 25th in the NFL. Offensive rank, Saints average 91.5 yards a game, which is 29th in the NFL. The Dolphins average 113, which is 18 ranked in the league. The Saints passing 205.3 per contest, 20th versus what the Dolphins are doing at 187.5. So that's interesting as well. And then we jump to the defensive side. 316.1 is the total defense, which is just really good. That's 12th ranked in the NFL for the Saints, giving up 316 yards combined a game versus what the Dolphins are doing at 349, almost, you might as well say 350, which is 24th. The Saints do allow 123.5 yards per contest, which is 21st. You can run on the Dolphins, 142.6, which is 29th. The passing attack, or the secondary rather, for the Saints is a top 9 unit, believe it or not. Keeping teams down, 192.5 for the Saints secondary, which is 9th in the NFL, versus the Dolphins, 207.2, which is 12th. So those secondaries, not bad. You can see the punt return right here. The Saints averaged about 10 yards per return on the punt, which is 19th. The Dolphins at 15, which is 3rd in the league. The kickoff average for the Saints, 25.2, 21st versus 26.1, which is 11th by the Dolphins. Time of possession, Saints around 28 minutes per game. So is the Dolphins. You can see the penalties right there. The Saints have 78 total penalties for 561 yards versus the Dolphins, 67 penalties for 562. So it's one of these situations where you see some of these teams and you kind of say, wow, man, this is not very good. So whatever happens, right? And then, of course, they show you a little of the backdrop of the series history between the Saints and the Dolphins when we see them. The Saints' largest victory margin, 21 points when they won 38-17 back in 2013 against this team. And it shows you a few more points. Most points by the Saints, 46. So we've had some good games against this Dolphin team, right? We really have. Will that happen this year? I can't tell you that, man, because I don't know what kind of state of the offense the Saints will bring out against, the Dolphins, right? We just don't know. All right, so let's get familiar, right? We're going to talk about the Dolphins right here and flash to some of the top players. Now, Tua Tagovailoa is the top. He's their quarterback right here. It's a guy that is really putting up some numbers. He's double digits in his interceptions, but it's 21st rank in terms of his passing, 21-23 on the year for him. It's 17 touchdowns, which is 12th in the NFL. He also has a ton of interceptions, which is 13, 43.5 is which Tua does in terms of his passing rating, his QBR. But he is a guy that does tend to hurt you there. He's a guy that is has when he's hot, and when he's not, he most certainly is not. He's been sacked 21 times this year, which is not good for Tua and his health situation. But the Dolphins do have somewhat of some weapons there to kind of push this thing too. So as the Saints will face off against Tua, the running attack is really what you need to be looking out for. As Devon Achane is another dude that's just really good for them. This is a running back that is 100 yards off of grabbing 1,000 yards this year. The man averages 5.5 yards per rush, 2 rushes first down for Devon Achane. And then if you think about it as well, 5 touchdowns to go along with that for this runner. This is the guy they had in the 3rd round out of the University of Texas A&M, and this man putting in some serious work for the Miami Dolphins, helping them to balance the attack. 4th in the NFL in terms of his rush yards, 15th in terms of his carries, 5th and 16th in terms of his touchdowns. And you can see he has a really good rating of 5.5 average right there. 2 rushes first down with Mr. Devon Achane. So we have to slow this brother down as best we can. And they also have another really interesting back that I like too. A guy of a couple years back got scouted, Ollie Gordon, the second. Y'all remember him out of Oklahoma State. This is a guy that has tremendous talent. He's not really being used like that, but he's kind of, I ain't gonna say a change of pace, but you have Achane, who is also a very powerful running back in his own right, but Ollie Gordon power is his game. So they have some talent there. In Miami. It's just, getting it all together, man, with this team. So those are 2 of the guys that we have that we see activate, and pay attention to Achane, because he's a guy not only is the top rusher on the team, but he's also a guy that's second on the team in terms of catches. Their top guy is Jaylen Waddle, who is a speedster extraordinaire. 49 grabs for this man, 722 yards. The man averages 15 yards a catch. Now, he is questionable, as the information is showing you, as he was limited. Will he play in the game against the Saints? I think he will play in the game against the Saints. I think he will. This is the deep threat guy that takes the tops off. He's a phenomenal player for them, but averaging 15 yards per catch is just awesome. Every time he catches the ball, it's first down and then some. It's first down and beyond is what Jaylen Waddle, and he has that speed to take it to the house. But outside of that, they still are kind of struggling to find a complement. But Devon Achane is a guy that has, 54 catches, even though we know that Waddle is the top wide receiver. But in terms of, as a wide receiver, but Achane is the guy that leads the team in catches. He has 54 versus 49. And then Tyreek Hill, we know he's out. He hadn't really been much of a factor for this team anyway into the season, as they use basically Malik Washington and Nick Westbrook. These guys are guys that they use as well. Malik Washington's an undersized guy, he's like 5'9", 5'8", but he also has really good speed. He's a 33 grab, so they don't really have, kind of a complement back, a wide receiver rather to Jaylen Waddle. These other guys have not fitting in well, and that's why I guess to a degree the Dolphins' offense has kind of struggled. They don't have that complement player there that kind of help push this thing forward, so to speak, right? So it's kind of, this team has talent, but they're not quite there, and I think their coach is under fire this year. He's under fire. All right, so anyway, as we keep this thing moving, man, and grooving along, the defense is what we're going to kind of jump to, because there are a lot of playmakers on this defense, and in particular, fantastic players. Jordan Brooks, we talk about him. They also have Willie Gay Jr. I don't know if y'all realize that, but Willie Gay Jr. is on the Dolphin squad. He's been there. But Jordan Brooks is stellar. This is a guy that has over 120. He got 120 plus tackles this season. So he's putting in some work. 71 solo, the rest assisted, but 125 total tackles. Him and Tyrell Dotson, the linebackers, are putting in some work. He has 87 of them. And you see Fitzpatrick, the fantastic safety, has 65 of them as well, to go along with what he has, with an interception from him. So they have a few players on this team to kind of look at and pay attention to. We know Chubb is still there. He leads the teams in sacks. Dobson has 4 of them. Jalen Phillips has 3, 2.5 by Jordan Brooks, the top tackler. And you can see so on and so forth. But Bradley Chubb is out there, and you got to be aware of where he is at all times, because he is a problem child for most teams. And like we said, the secondary, from a rank standpoint, is not that bad. A very smart player in Minka Fitzpatrick is back there. They also have a couple other players like Jack Jones and Rasul Douglas, who is dealing with some issues. Jason Marshall Jr. to go along with Ashton Davis. So we'll see how this all looks. But man, it'll be interesting for the Saints to attack this Dolphins defense and see if we can get something going right here and see if we can keep these guys off of our backs, man. And of course, like I said, we'll kind of move on to the Dolphins depth chart. Looks like this with Tua at running back. Our chain is the running back, starting running back, Waddle, Malik Washington, undersized player. And you see Nick is there at wide receiver. The tight ends, not much to talk about at all with these two dudes, but we talk about Darren Waller. He's out on IR. He's another player. I don't think he's, when they brought him back, they thought he was going to get something out of it. I think he's pretty much like washed. And then, of course, the offensive line, which allowed 21 sacks of Tua. It's not a lot to talk about with these guys. You can see the offensive line. Brewer, the center, is questionable. Cole Strange, one of the guards, but nothing special about the Dolphins offensive line to put it lightly. Matthew Judon, the former Patriot, is there. You see him as an edge guy with Sealer. Benito Jones is questionable. I think he will play in this game. Bradley Chubb, the edge rusher, Jordan Brooks, Tyrell Dobson, and you see Cameron Good. Then we talked about the secondary already, with Patterson and Bailey are the special team aces for the Dolphins, right? Like I said, this is a team. I ain't gonna say the Saints should beat the team, because I don't know what Saint team will show up for this particular matchup. I don't know if they can solve these issues quick, and put offense together. But as long as you can't score, you can't move the ball and you can't score any touchdowns, you're gonna have a problem. It just simply is what it is. And if we can't get that done, then field goals is not going to cut it, especially when you got a new field goal kicker. The old field goal kicker wasn't doing too good either. But anyway, let's kind of jump right into the depth chart for our Saints right here. You can see Tyler Shuck, AK-41, is questionable for this game. Devin Neal has an ankle issue. That's why they brought in Evan Hall and Audric Estime. So, we're more than likely, even though they'll have activated at least 3 running backs, Taysom Hill more than likely will get a lot of reps at the running back position. Chris Olave should be good to go as well. Devon Valley and Mason Tipton continue as they try to find their way in that offense. Juwan Johnson on the slick is on his way to have his best year. He struggled to start this year, but Juwan Johnson, I don't know if people realize this, is on his way to having his best season as a Saint. Statistically speaking, believe it or not, right? Through 11 games, he has 49 catches through 11 games, and he has 537 yards, right? The most he's had was 548, which was last year. Now he's averaging 11 yards per catch, which is positive. He has 3 touchdowns this year. His biggest year for the touchdowns was 2022, when he had 7 of them and he had a 12-point average there. But in terms of his catches, he's there. I mean, in terms of his catches, he just needs 2 more catches to have his best year catching the ball, and we still have a bunch of games left. So he's definitely on his way to having a better year. And then the reality is you got to give him credit, right? And I'm saying about Juwan Johnson because these early games was not so much, but he's really played better, a lot better over the last couple of games. He's been catching the ball. He's even been doing a better job of blocking. He hasn't been knocked down, drag out better, but you can see improvement from his game, right? In that regard. So the dive and catch and all this kind of stuff that he did he has been playing better. I got to give a man credit for that. You can't lay him out and blast him on one end, but not, give him, some success and accolades on the other end when he steps up and performs. So this is the thing. So like I said, these are the numbers right now through the games that Tyler Shuck has played. This is his numbers. 829 yards of offense, 3 touchdowns against 3 interceptions is currently his numbers so far. 41.3 is the QBR for Tyler Shuck. And we just need them to attack downfield a little bit more. We covered the tape in Patreon this past week, where we kind of showed that Tyler Shuck had passes that he could have threw down the field, but I don't know what he was doing. He just decided to check the ball down and go. There was a couple of times when there were wide receivers wide open downfield, running with their hand up. And he actually looked over there, and for whatever reason, he didn't throw the ball. He checked it down. I don't get that part of his game. Maybe he's playing. He don't want to, he's kind of scared to turn the ball. I don't know what it is, but you're 2-9, bro. You got to let it go, man. Let it fly. You got to play free, bro. You're a 2-9 team. You got to play free. And if you play all congested and nervously and all this kind of stuff, these people will find another quarterback. If you create doubt and give them doubt, that could end up putting you against some more competition next year. Just being honest. You have to go out there and play free and fast. You got to just have fun and lay it out. Don't be all tense and tight and looking all scared and all that kind of stuff. None of that. Go out there and play and leave it on the field. Chris Olave is another player that we talked about that is having a really nice year as well. Chris Olave, the Saints have yet to finish and finalize Chris's extension. They've been talking about this extension for a month now. You know, he'd been talking about extending Chris Olave for a month now. You know, it's been talk of that, but he's well on his way to having his best season too. His best season was in 23. He had 87 catches and 1,100 yards. Will he be able to catch up with that? Well, maybe from a touchdown perspective. The most touchdowns he's had in a year was 5 in that same year. I mean, he needs one more of those to catch up with that in his touchdowns. He still has a ways to go to kind of get his 1,100 yard year. But in terms of his catches, you know, he is about 17 catches away from that. And the way they throw to Chris Olave, and all he has to do is remain healthy, and he'll get all of that. Because currently, right now, he has 69 catches. That's 7th in the NFL. His yardage, 734 is 15th, right? And he's tied 4th in the NFL, 31st in the NFL with 4 touchdowns. So he's a couple of big games from really catapulting his statistics and his average to where they need to be. So, we'll see how it all goes. But in the end, Chris Olave, credit to Chris Olave, man. A lot of the credit has to be given to him because, man, he had the last couple of years of him having these issues and injuries and all this kind of stuff. And you can see this man, and we're not done with football, by the way, but you got to give him some love on Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? You got to give him some love. The man is, doing the best that he can do within working with what he got going on. But him catching the ball with the toe tapping and the one hand grab, that's the Chris Olave. That's the guy out there having fun. When he's doing that, he's out there having fun. And that's something that we love to see from Chris Olave. It's a highlight reel of catches from Chris Olave on Atlanta, on Green Bay, and this brother here just be having fun out there. He just challenging himself. And when he's doing stuff like that, man, it's really fun. It's really fun to watch him do that. So that's a few of the things to kind of talk about with them going forward. And like I said, man, it's a lot to deal with. Let me get back to our depth chart here. But it's a lot that the Saints got to come through. He's the number one option, obviously, if Tyler Shuck goes to him a lot. He hadn't really built up trust yet with Devon Valley or Mason Tipton. It's on the way, right? Juwan Johnson, like I said, has been steady over the last couple of weeks. And then the offensive line with Kelvin Banks Jr., these are young guys in here trying to figure it out and do their things. The line play this past week wasn't, like what it was supposed to be like it was against Carolina. And of course, we have 3 backups playing in that: Dylan Raduntz, Luke Fortner, and Asim Richards. We had those guys playing there, and it's now never a good thing when you got that many backups there, but it's what it is, right? And of course, on the defensive side, Cam Jordan, Devine Gacho, Brian Bursey, Carl Granderson, who's been noticeably quiet. Carl has been real quiet. I'd be like, we need a Carl Granderson sighting. He needs to get a sack or something to kind of wake up. He kind of went to sleep. with his stuff. Demario Davis, Pete Werner. And they've been cycling Pete Werner in and out for Danny Stutzman. We know Jalen Ford and Isaiah Stallberg get reps as well, which is positive. Chase Young has 4 sacks on the season so far, man. And it's one of these things that we kind of talk about when we talk about the Saints and where they are, to kind of reveal some of the information because since he's been back, he's anyway, KT probably listening somewhere. But yeah, he asked me, will he get double-digit sacks? Will Chase Young get double-digit sacks this year? Hell, I'm not going to put my money on it. But right now, since he's been back, the man has done a pretty decent job. He has 4 sacks right now. Cam Jordan is leading the team. No, he's not leading with sacks. Him and Curl and Cam are tied for sacks so far. Cam is 4.5, so is Curl. Chase is 4. So that is your top 3 guys right there in terms of sacks. The pick guys, Kool-Aid McKinstry leads the team with 2 picks currently. And your top tackler is Demario Davis. He's over 100 tackles, total tackles. This year, the closest one to him is Pete Werner with 62 and Justin Reed with 59. And then the rest of the guys that's tacklers are DBs rather. Justin Reed, Taylor, Sanker, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and then Carl Granderson. So kind of bunched up a bunch of safety. Usually it means when your safeties are up there like that, that's because, a lot of times the runners and people are getting in deep into the third level of your defense, which is not a good thing, right? So that's something to talk about. And of course, when you get down to the nitty gritty about who's going to be your kicker, we're not going to know that at all until after the practice is happening, and Kellen Moore will notify us and let us know, okay, hey, man, this is going to be our kicker for this week, whether it be Cade Yark or Charlie Smith. Cade Yark's a veteran. Charlie Smith's an international player who's been on the practice squad. You usually kind of say, man, that probably will end up going to your veteran. So that's what I would probably say, fam. That's what I would lean into and probably say more than likely it'll probably end up being your boy Cade Yark. So we'll see how it all works, man, in the end, man. Shout out to DJ Phil Cole, Ray for 2, Official Perry. Shout out to you, Frosty 504. Big ups to y'all for being in the stream on this one, man. Listen, let's kind of just jump into the 10 keys of victory, man, that I kind of worked on here for the Saints to take care of business against the Dolphins in this matchup, right? Then I'll flash to you guys here. What's up, Black Major? Shout out to Black Major. Big ups to you guys. Have any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat. And big ups to everybody, man. I just want to wish you guys a happy Turkey Day today, a happy Family Day today, man. And y'all chill. What's up, St. Doug? Big ups to you as well. Jason, I see you, man. Much love. Appreciate you as well. All right. Who else we got there? I just want to give y'all a shout out in the building. Big ups to y'all. All right. So anyway, let's keep this. What's up, Charlie? Jack, what's up, man? All right. He says we need to tank so we can. So, okay. Tanking it. I don't know, man. I think the Saints, they are who they are, man. The Saints are trying to win. They're not really, that good in playing football, especially offensively. The defense did enough for the Saints to win last week. All that falls on the offense, and that's controlled by Kellen Moore. Mr. Moore is the problem with what happened with the offense last week and struggles with the offense this whole season. We have not been good in that area. Okay, number 1 key to victory. Here's 10 of them, fam. Protect the football, right? That's the first thing. The Dolphins defense excels. They really do at generating them turnovers, particularly fumble recoveries. They rank high in the league in that category. The Saints have struggled with the ball security this season. They must prioritize, the ball handling, being, respecting the football, avoid giving the Dolphins short fields and these momentum swings that help teams win. We got to watch that. We can't be about the business of allowing them to us turning the ball over to them like we did on the very first play against the Falcons last week, when you had a stumbling, bumbling play that occurred where the quarterback tried to hand it to the running back, the ball on the ground. They recover, give them a short field on. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have stumbling, bumbling series after stumbling, bumbling. So we got to show some type of offense consistently. By all means, if you do, I did the numbers on the practices. If the Saints have practiced 5 times a week, and that's been 12 weeks done pass. That was like 60 practices. Like, damn, you're supposed to have an idea of what you're doing if you had 60 practices up to this point, man. You're supposed to know what you're doing, right? Number 2, establish a consistent run game. Now, how are they going to do that with WK13 potentially being out? That's going to be the kicker. They're going to have to try to find out who's going to run the ball. Devin Neal's dealing with an ankle issue. By all accounts, look like he will play in the game. They will have other unused backs like Audric Estime, who's been active, but they have not given him any reps in terms of live game reps. They haven't really did anything. They bring in Hall, the running back, this week. They signed him to the active roster to help. But how much of these people are they going to use? I'm more than likely think they'll more than likely stick with Devin Neal in a combination with him and Taysom Hill. They'll be using Taysom as a running back there. Whatever the situation is, the Saints have to be able to establish a running game against the Dolphins. So the Saints passing offense still developing and facing tough Dolphins pass rush. Establishing an effective rushing attack is key. A strong run game controls the clock, keeps the defense off the field, gives our guys rest, and then it opens up the play action, right? And then you get those opportunities to get the pressure off the quarterback. When we can get into our play action bag, that we can start kind of tagging them downfield, attacking downfield, which is what Tyler Shuck is really good at doing, ripping the ball down the field. Number 3, contain the Miami's perimeter speed. The Dolphins offense is built on speed. Washington, Waddle, these guys can move, right? Particularly with Devon A-Chain. It's another guy, almost 1,000-yard rusher. The guy averages 5.5 yards a rush. He's really tough to bring down. Like I talked about, Jalen Waddle. Saints defenders, especially the linebackers and the edge players, must contain. They got to be disciplined in their containment and their containment assignments. They got to be able to wrap up effectively. Like, you get this guy, you got to wrap him up and bring him down. We can't have the broken tackles, or at least slow him down so we can get there with the gang tackling. You got to prevent those big plays from happening outside. So that's a part of the matrix as well. Number 4, we got to maximize that red zone efficiency. The Saints have proven to be the worst, if not one of the worst teams in the entire league in terms of its red zone efficiency. For whatever reason, there is some type of mental block. I've said that there is a giant sea monster embedded underneath the end zone turf. There's zombies there and vampire skeletons that come up out of the red zone, especially the end zone area, that scare the Saints to death. It got the abominable snowman with vicious teeth, blood, and all this kind of stuff is happening. All this is going on in their mind when they get to the red zone. If the red zone scare you that bad, let's just call it the green zone. All right, in terms of money, if you're scared, if you're too scared to get to let's turn it to the green zone, right? Let's stop calling it the red zone and call it the green zone, because the green zone, if you get in the end zone, the green zone is green for money, because if you catching touchdowns and you making touchdowns, that means you're going to be making money, baby. So let's just stop calling it the red zone psychologically for this Saints team and start calling it the green zone, right? You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at there? Whatever you got to do, you got to do it so you can get it done, is what I'm saying, right? So the Saints red zone offense been a major weakness, often settling for field goals instead of touchdowns. Against the high-powered Miami offense, the Saints must convert scoring opportunities into touchdowns to keep pace and maximize limited possessions. So how y'all like my idea? Turn the yellow. Jack said the yellow zone. That doesn't help, Jack. That don't help, bro. That we got to tell. We got it. Got to be the. It got to be the. I say green zone. People like green. Green is good. Green is the color of money. Green is the color of the planet, right? You see, the plants are green. It's the organic color, right? So when you get in the green zone, that means green mean go, right? Red means stop. I mean, the Saints literally taking these color schemes literally and figuratively. Like they get to the red zone and stop. No, we need to change that around. We gonna change our verbiage and our mindset, and we're gonna be like, okay, it's no longer the red zone, it's the green zone, because it means go get the touchdown. If you got to do that, because something wrong here with the Saints in this red zone. Number 5, you got to force some turnovers here. Saints defense need to step up, create some game-changing turnovers, generating fumbles, interceptions. They can give the offense favorable field position and disrupt the rhythm of Tua and the Dolphins' attack. Tua is a problem. As long as Jalen Waddle's playing, he's a problem. And Devin Achane is another problem. So, I mean, offensively speaking, we have to contain these people, right? We got to get turnovers out of them. Number 6, we got to exploit the Dolphins' interior line issues. Miami's dealing with some issues in the interior of it. The Saints defensive tackles and edge rushers should focus on exploiting these mismatches to generate some more interior pressure. They got to force Tua to move off his spot and make quick, potentially inaccurate throws. When you attacking these quarterbacks and you're forcing them to throw the ball early, sometimes that turns into turnovers. And we know Tua doesn't have a problem with wrapping the gift for you early Christmas gift for you. He got 13 interceptions. So he's definitely turnover prone. He get double-digit picks here. So you can get turnovers out of him. That ain't no issue. He's not really that efficient with the ball. And plus the Dolphins offensive line, they allowed him to be sacked 21 times on the season. So there's definitely opportunities there for the Saints to make some stuff happen, right? Number 7, we got to limit the star receiver production. The Dolphins have multiple threats. The Saints secondary must execute coverage schemes effectively and limit the plays like Waddle. Tightly contested coverage and minimize yards after the catch are essential. Now, we know the Saints don't like the press. They don't like the jam wide receivers. They just simply don't do that. They will allow you free release to run into their defense. I disagree with this, but this is what Staley defense does. You don't want to allow a player as fast as Jalen Waddle, who runs really good routes, free release into your defense. I just think that's really dumb. But we've been doing that all season long. We allow speedy wide receivers free release into our defense. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I wouldn't. If I was teaching, I would tell you to jam that guy. The only time you can, fam, listen, y'all know this as well as I do. The only time you're allowed to permit it to touch the cornerback is within 5 yards of the start of the play. You got 5 yards to jam them up. After that, you can't touch him. So why would you not touch him when you are legally allowed to touch him? Now, if you're playing I'm just saying with press, because a lot of times you'll see the Saints secondary play 5. They consistently play 10 yards off the receivers. And I'm like, you do that kind of coverage if you know your corners can't cover. And I think our corners can cover if you let them, right? I think they can. I don't know what, every now and again you would kind of play back off of them. But I just don't like the fact we play so far off these wide receivers. They be giving third string wide receivers and say guys with no names all this respect. Everybody's Jerry Rice and Randy Moss on Saints. It don't matter who they are. You have a guy that just got off the practice squad. He Randy Moss. Everybody's Randy Moss to the Saints secondary. They play 5 and 10 yards off these guys. And then when they do get close to them, they don't touch, they don't jam, they just get free release into the deal. I'm like, dude, I don't understand it, but that's how they operate, right? So you got to be able to limit what Waddle does. He's a big part of what they do offensively speaking. Number 8, disrupt Tua's rhythm. He operates best when he can quickly read defenses, deliver accurate passes. The Saints defense must hit him with different coverages, bring timely pressure, and prevent him from getting too comfortable in the pocket. I know they're going to shoot that star Alante Taylor at him in defense. They're going to run, blitz him at him. They're going to throw linebackers at him. And all that's going to be needed, right, to do that, because as long as Jalen Waddle getting free release into the defense, they're going to be, we've seen this happen throughout the season. Like some of these players, some of these quarterbacks get rhythm. You don't want that. I thought you disrupting guy. I didn't play cornerback when I was in high school. I didn't play. I played linebacker and fullback. And when I was in high school, when I played football, and I remember my old ball coach used to always want his cornerbacks to jam. He always wanted them folks to jam. And because it just makes sense to you can't touch the wide receiver any other time. Why would you allow him free release? I don't get that, especially if they fast and they can catch. But we've seen that all season long. Maybe we can get. They're not going to even ask him that question. What kind of questions you ask these coordinators? Hey man, let me ask you something. Why you let these wide receivers? Why you don't trust your cornerbacks? Well, we not the fact that we don't. I know what they're gonna say. Well, why you don't jam? Why you don't allow your cornerbacks to jam them at the line? I know that if you jamming them at the line of scrimmage, that upsets their timing, because it's predicated on timing, right? If I jam you here, I'm buying my pass rusher some time to get around there. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm giving my defensive end, my pass rusher, an opportunity to get where he needs to be. If I jam you, as opposed to let you run around and me chasing you, you see, I just believe that upsetting the time, it helps you. Any amount of time that you can buy your pass rusher to get to the quarterback and disrupt what he's the quarterback and wide receiver relationship and what they think they're going to do. I'm for that. I'm for that. I am for that big time. But we'll see how it operates. Number 9, win the special teams battle. Well, that's going to be interesting because we'll have a new kicker. How will these guys do in that role if the Saints offense can't put touchdowns together in the green zone? Right? How would that work out? Right? So to win the special teams battle in the game, they may be closer than projected. Special teams could play a vital role, gaining an advantage in the field position through strong punting, kick returning, minimizing return opportunities will be key. So how the Saints play on special teams, punt return, kick return, coverage, maybe flipping the field. We had Mason tipped in to bring it all the way back to set up a short field for the Saints. We didn't take advantage of it last week, but this sort of thing still needs to happen. Now, I don't know who will be the kicker. If I had to bet on it, I'd probably say it would be Cade York or Charlie Smith. I probably would put Cade York there because he's the veteran. We don't know how it's going to look. With the guy coming in here, they're practicing. So you don't know who your kicker is and can he be relied upon. So this will be something that the offense will more than likely have to start doing on their own. You got to score touchdowns in the red zone, right? Got to win the special teams battle. And finally, number 10, capitalize on discipline and execution, right? You get against talented opponents. The Saints cannot afford self-inflicted wounds, miscues, minimizing penalties, and executing plays with precision, right? And maintaining situational awareness throughout the game will be key for the Saints to beat the Miami Dolphins. 10 keys to victory, man. 10 keys to victory, one after the other. Protect the ball, establish, that's number 1. Number 2, establish a consistent run. Number 3, contain Miami's perimeter speed. Number 4, maximize red zone efficiency. Number 5, force key turnovers. Number 6, exploit Dolphins' interior line issues. Number 7, limit star recovery, receiver production. Number 8, disrupt Tua's rhythm. Number 9, winning the special teams. And number 10, capitalize on their problems, their issues, and you cut your miscues down. Your false starts, holding, missed tackles, drop passes, late to the party blocking, all the stuff that helps them win, cut it out, or at least cut it down. So that's a part of it. What's up, Debbie? Shout out to Debbie for being in the building. And that's what I got for y'all. If y'all got any questions, y'all can feel free to throw them in the chat. We up in this thing, man. Much love to y'all. All right. What's up, Frosty? Shout out to you, Perry G. What's happening, man? Instagram fam, I see y'all, man. All right. What's up? My dog Low in the building. What's up? You say, man, unfortunately, both our teams are struggling. We'll be back soon. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes, indeed, man. Yeah, Low is smiling, even though both teams are struggling. Low and them happy. Low had a good weekend this past weekend. The Falcons and Hawks. The Hawks beat the Pelicans on Saturday, and the Falcons beat the Saints on Sunday. So if you was an Atlanta person in the city of New Orleans. When that happened, you smiling all the way. It's like it's like Thanksgiving and Christmas and every damn thing else. It was an Atlanta supporter winning weekend, sponsored by Gail Benson. So it was, yes. If you was an Atlanta person, boy, it was your weekend, man. They had it. It was there. All right, what's up, Dedrick? Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you as well. Yeah, it's just cool, man, to for Thanksgiving to be able to rap with y'all, man, to talk. And I know both of our teams are kind of struggling. Really, and I mean both our teams, Pelicans and Saints, are struggling. And we probably gonna see some good football. It just probably won't be from the Saints today. They got a couple of games that'll be played today on Thanksgiving, on Turkey Day, man. So yeah, so you guys get to see a few games that'll be out there. The Green Bay Packers and the Lions that kick off at noon. So that's actually a pretty respectable game because both those teams have winning records. The Packers are 7-3-1. The Lions are 7-4. So that's going to be a good game in Detroit. And the afternoon game is the Chiefs. They're 6-5 against the Cowboys. The Cowboys 5-5 on a short week here. They kicked the field goal and won last week. They have an opportunity to get 500, above 500 with a win against the Chiefs. Out in Dallas State, out in Arlington, in Jerry's World. And then the night game, this is the weakest of the game. The Bengals are there, but I think Joey Burrow returns, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say Joey Burrow returns against the Ravens in this matchup. So I think he comes back, but the Bengals, yeah, Joey Burrow's supposed to be back for this game. So I guess that will be fun seeing him back there on Thanksgiving against the Ravens. So we'll see how it all goes, man. But it's 3 games and a lot of food, family, and fun. So anyway, man, with that being said, I'm going to cut out on that. I appreciate y'all for joining me on this Thanksgiving episode of The Coma. Y'all hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. By all means, feel free to share the show on your social media feed, man. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Try not to eat too much, on Thanksgiving, man. And I'm going to holler at you on the next one. Much love, peace, and who that to you.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shame for the championship. Bucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy, then you probably smell the crooked referees on Roger Goodell. Yeah, probably like this, and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this, and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
Hey, New Orleans! Whether you're catching up on Saints news at Jackson Square, checking Pelicans scores in the Garden District, or staying updated on LSU while grabbing coffee in the French Quarter, there's one place that keeps you connected to everything that matters in our city. From Bourbon Street to the Superdome, from Preservation Hall to the Riverfront, New Orleanians are staying in the know with the WhoDatDaily.com, your daily source for Saints, Pelicans, LSU, and all the sports, music, and culture that makes our city special. At work downtown, at a game in the Dome, or just relaxing by the Mississippi, wherever life takes you in the Big Easy, you can stay connected. Because when you're from New Orleans, you don't just live here. You stay in the NO. That's stay in the know. Visit the WhoDatDaily.com and never miss what matters most to Who Dat Nation. Stay in the NO, you stay in the know.
Welcome to the Pro Shop, where we create authentic NOLA-inspired clothing for men, women, and children. From Saints jerseys to Pelicans gear, everything's crafted right here in New Orleans. Whether you're shopping the Pro Shop, the Pel Shop, or the Pro Shop Kids, we've got your whole family covered with genuine merchandise that represents our city's spirit. Check for links in the description section below.